Good morning. How are you doing today? Good? That's good. Me? Well, I'm blessed, not stressed. What's today's topic going to be about? Today's topic is found in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 18. The eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints. Now, what does this mean? Well, there's another verse that talks about having eyes to see and ears to hear. And what does that mean? Well, it speaks about discernment. And discernment is being able to discern, well, what is going on behind the scenes. You know how with movies there used to be all these behind the scenes videos that show you how it was made, what the design was meant to look like, and how the filming process went, right? It was a peer behind the curtain. Discernment is being able to see behind the curtain of the real message that's trying to be given, right? Now, the eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints. In other words, the hope of his calling. What do you think that is? Some might say, oh, living forever. Some might like that. I believe that the hope of his calling is, well, to be free from sin, and to be free from pain, suffering, and to be with him in heaven. You know how amazing that's going to be? I can't even fathom it. You know, but circling back around to discernment, how important do you think that is today? Let's put it to a practical example. Let's say that you see a van driving through the neighborhood. It's not making any circles, it's not driving any kind of creepy way, but you do notice it doesn't have windows. And it does kind of slow down near kids. Now, to the average person, that might look a little suspicious, but if you follow it closely, you're going to discern and be able to see that it is a creep in there. It could be an operation. It could be some kind of terrible thing. How did you figure that out? How did you discern that? With discernment, right? And you need to be able to look between the lines. Something that is seemingly innocent could be full of danger, right? For instance, let's say that there are two paths on a mountain. Both appear to lead to the top. One is a more narrow way and one is a more wide way. But the wide way goes directly across the mountainside. Now let's say that you look at both ways and you say, oh, the narrow way doesn't look that safe, so I'll just go with the wide way. Let's say you go with the narrow way. The narrow way, you're walking and all of a sudden it splits in half and you fall down the mountain. And you perish. Perhaps if you looked up ahead and saw the crack in the road, if you discerned, took a moment to discern the future issues up ahead, you might not have set foot on that path. It is the same way with discernment today. For what has been normalized is the abnormal. And what hasn't been normalized, what has been driven out, is what appears to be, what some would say, common sense. You ever hear that term, common sense? Well, probably not, because common sense isn't so common anymore. It's just sense. Or in other words, discernment. The ability to discern what is and what isn't going on. And understand it, right? Now, we as Christians, we have to have discernment. We cannot afford to waste even a single day here, because each day is a gift. That is why it is called the present. We're to be thankful for even getting up each day. A lot of us struggle saying, oh, well, what do I pray for? What do I thank him for? Well, thank him for that. Just go back over your day. If you're in the middle of your day right now, just pause and be like, okay, thank you, Lord, for letting me get up this morning. Thank you for letting me get to work this morning. Thank you for letting me have a house this morning. Thank you for letting me... Because all those things that we have been granted, we take for granted. And yet we can't even discern that. How are we going to discern anything else? So today, I want you to pray for discernment. Pray for understanding. And keep an attitude of gratitude. And not a bad attitude. And not an attitude of ungratefulness and ingratitude. Seek him today. Put him first, and he won't leave you last.